Well, good morning, it's Rob, and for some reason, I've never shared this story before, and it's a good one. So I'm a production sound mixer. I mix sound for films, TV shows, that kind of stuff. And when I was starting off 30 years ago, sometime in the mid-90s, 96, 97, I got a job working on this film from a bunch of recent UCLA graduates. And it was like a mockumentary. It was called Shafted, and it was not something you could, pull off today, but it actually was pretty funny, and they did a good job with it. But it was a mockumentary about a white mental patient who escaped from the asylum and thought he was a black crime-fighting superhero named John Shat. Not Shaft, but Shat. It really was pretty funny and creative. Anyway, so we were filming in this famous place called Lacey Street Studios, which is the home of low-budget production in Los Angeles, and it has been so for decades. Matter of fact, they filmed Cagney and Lacey there, and I believe Cagney and Lacey, the TV show, was partially named by the fact that that studio is located on Lacey Street. That's where their police station set was built, and that police station set, I believe, is still there today. It was a freestanding set that had been there for decades. Anyways, we shot at Lacey Street Studios for part of this movie, as many independent filmmakers did, because it was so cheap and unsafe and dirty. Anyway, the joke was about Lacey Street Studios that it was condemned, but okay for filmmaking. So we showed up at Lacey Street Studios, and sure enough, everyone noticed that Gary Coleman was in the parking lot working as a security guard parking cars, and believe me, that place needed a security guard. So we had to do it. We walked up to him and we said, "Hey, can you say your famous line, what you talking about, but instead of Willis, say our character's name, Lawrence." And Gary Coleman said, "I don't say that anymore. I've moved on with my life." He wasn't about to do it. And of course, they cajoled him, convinced him, and for $85, I believe, he said, "I'll say it one time." So what you're going to be about to see at the end of this video, the clip I'm going to show, is him literally saying one time, "What you talking about, Lawrence?" We filmed it with just him alone, no other characters, anything. And then once he left, we embarrassed him even further by doing this whole monologue from the other character about Gary Coleman and his terrible life and what happened. And, if you don't know, Gary Coleman had a lot of reason to be a grumpy adult after, growing up as a child star, because, of course, the offers dried up, as they do. And, he had a really rough life, and, I do feel sad for him now. His parents really took most of his money. He never saw, hardly any of it. Ended up living, a very meager and poor existence, and probably needed to work as a security guard. Now, why he had to do it at a film studio, I don't know. He could have just gone anywhere else. I think it just probably made him feel worse. But anyway, so that's pretty much the story of how he walked up to Gary Coleman, and for $85, he said, his famous line, and he said, "I'm going to say it one time," and that's it. And he literally did, and we had to make sure, all right, we're only going to get one shot at this, folks, for our $85. So that's what you're about to see in this upcoming clip.
TV's own Gary Coleman, former child actor, known the world over for his cheeky innocence and childlike features, built out of millions in residuals by his parents, and now compelled to work as a security guard in order to pay the rent. Just once, say it for me, Gary.
What are you talking about, Lawrence?
What you talking about, Gary? Next, we have a tree. I think maybe you better just leave. No pun intended. Just get out. Go on.